Oh, we go. Here we go. Here we are. I'm having a good time. Having a good time. Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, here we have some fun tonight. Let me see here. Oh, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, here we are, my friends. Hey, Joe, you want a link? If you want a link, let me know. I'll send you one. Just find me on Discord or Gilded or whatever. Should I'm on Gilded? I think I closed Gilded. Hold on. Yeah. Let me see here. Hold on. Everybody here. Who's coming to have a fun time? Anybody here right now? If you want in, let me know. I can send you the link. Let's continue the party. Let's go. Anyway, let's wait for a few. I send out to Red Shirt and a few other people here. Let me go ahead and do a few other things. And let me see here. I'm trying to find a few more people. Let's get this party started. Let me put it out here too. Hold on. Let me see here. Let me do this. Yes, sir, Bob. Anyway. Okay, everybody, here we are. We're live. We're waiting for people to come here. And again, we'll talk about what we want to talk about. I'll talk about whatever. Have a good drink. Talk about some drinks. Talk about some movies. Talk about some shows. I enjoy watching some good shows. Hey. Hello, my friends. Okay, we'll talk to you tomorrow. I'm here. Hello, Reuben. How are you doing? Anyway, wait for some Red Shirt to get here and a few others. Let me see here. We're just doing the switch over. Let me do that. Let me do a few things here on my end. I'm going to try and get this out here. Let me see if we can get some more people on here. There we go. Let me put this in here. Send a message to him. Here we go. And here we go. Come on. There we go. I'm still getting everything here. Trying to read it aligned. Where else? Here we go. Roboting audio? Really? Wonder how. Why would it do that? It shouldn't. Should be clear. Clear is clear still. I don't know. Okay, let's see who else is going to show up. I'll wait for people to hear. But everybody, like I was saying here, in regards to what we're trying to do here, trying to keep the party going, have some fun tonight, and see what happens. Okay, it's good now. Good audio. Great. Fantastic. So let me see here. Hold on. Let me do this real fast. Let's get a few more people here. I know that we want to get people involved in here. Let's see here. Hold on. Let's see here. I'm just waiting for more people to arrive. Waiting for more people to come in. Okay. Let's see how it happens. Just sitting here right now. That's how it is. When the party can't stay at that party, got to move the party somewhere else. So things take time to move over. That's fine. That's how it works. There we go. Let's give this guy anything here. Also there. There we go. Let's wait for you. Making mints discards for tomorrow's show. Okay. Great, my friend. Great. Yes, get your show going. So everybody here, again, anybody here who's on the chat right now who wants to get on the show, please reach out to my Discord or my Gilded, or just let me know here you want to be on. Again, we got the beer flowing here, got the drinks going on. Let's have some fun. Very important to do that. So again, I'll tell you right off the bat, Marvel, I don't care. Star Wars, I don't care. Lord of the Rings, the old movies, yeah, I care about them. That's to me, that's the IP. What we had with Rings of Power, nothing. I'm just gonna have fun now. I think what's fun to me, my fun is to watch everybody out there that I know and care about. The people that we met there. Whenever you go to a meetup there in Orlando, wonderful. You had all the crew. FNT was there. It was amazing, like I said last time. But again, the most important part of that journey was meeting every single person that I had talked to. All just the regular people. Us, the fellowship, the old people that I haven't seen for at least a year, to see them again. And that's what's important, getting those people. And here we come. We have somebody here to the stream, Mr. Sam. And you're muted. No audio on your end.
Oh, how about now? Am I
There we
muted?
go. Audio.
Okay.
Z audio is working.
Oh,
We're going.
excellent. So, how are you doing tonight, sir?
I'm doing well. I'm enjoying. This is it. Again, we have just got the party going on now.
Indeed. So, I actually don't have the link to your channel, but I'll be sure to tweet it out once I can find it here on YouTube. So,
Yeah, I know. Again, I probably shadow banned. I don't even have a Twitter anymore, and I probably won't get it back either, because I'm a hateful man. I'm full
uh,
of hate and bigotry and all that the crap. You
well,
know how it is.
well, I'd actually be more surprised if you didn't get it back at this point. I mean, Elon's fired a whole bunch of the droogs over on that were manning Twitter. But I don't
Uh-huh.
know.
Okay, well, this is interesting here. Joe's Atmosphere says this. Andor is actually different and indecent, bud. My friends and I are going to do. Okay. That's good. So then, yeah. So then, after your review on Thanksgiving, I'll see if I want to do it or not. I'm again. I love old Disney. I watch some old movies on old Disney movies over the weekend just to relax, just to stop with the crap it's out there. Sweet, innocent, good little films, whatever. I just wanted something nice, you know. Just sick and tired of the crap that you get that Disney and the woke people are putting on. And again, someone actually said it best. It's what do you mean woke? Preachy, very preachy or very Karen-esque in the way. Like, oh, I know, you know better. I'm done. I'm done with that. I want to have positivity and love.
Yeah,
That's
that's
most
that's the tough thing about doing this stuff week in and week out. It's all melodrama and lots of doom posting, I find.
why I've been avoiding it basically, or I fall into it. The most important aspect of it why I enjoy watching YouTube now, it's because it's the idea that we can all laugh at what's really happening, and some of the things are very innocuous, not really
Yeah.
causing a problem. Like if they're having a meltdown at Twitter because they don't get their free lunch anymore, or their meditation rooms are gone, or whatever, then that's like tough. Come on, get a life, Jesus. Yes, it
I
happens.
I just choose to laugh at it. The way I've described it on my show is, look, you can't you can't avoid the doom and gloom of the news, but you can choose how you want to look at it.
Right.
It's all about perspective.
Exactly.
So
I know, it's crazy. It just makes no sense.
yeah, I mean, the older I get, the more that's just kind of my default now. Like, I don't even choose to really get mad about the 2020 election because, you know, what I'm not saying don't it doesn't matter, but at the end of the day, you can only be mad for so long. It
Right,
doesn't.
right, right. With anything, that's the whole idea. The whole idea is whatever. I'm not going to dwell on the past. It's like
Yeah,
how'd you say it? Even if the worst analogy is you have an abusive boyfriend or girlfriend, and they keep on abusing you, and you go back. You already know what they do. Just move on. You're not doing this again. I'm going to make it different this time. Make a difference. Walk away. Do something differently. And that's the whole idea. That's so that you can't stop complaining about what happened. They stole the election. They did this. They did that. They said this. They said that. It's just grow up. It's over. Look forward and fight that battle. And that's what I have to do. You have to
yeah,
fight the battle. That's why I was saying it's like, as I was thinking about it, it's like, what is really so offensive with this? What is offensive with make a great America great again? It's like, it's like, and again, they jingoistic. You're talking about America. You're bringing it up. You want to make America, you
yeah,
want to put America above everybody. No, I don't want to put America above anything else. Again, every parent has a kid, wants that kid to be the best they can be, wants it to succeed in life.
yeah,
You want, and you want, if you're a football fan, and you're like, if you're here down in Florida, if you like Tampa Bay, sorry, if you live in Tampa Bay and Tampa Bay is your team, you do not go to the football game and say boo to your own team. You don't do that. That's dumb. You want your team to win. So it's the same
right.
thing. We want to strive for perfection for the things we take pride in or we have invested interest in. Hey, it's my favorite football player, or I did this. The same thing here. But again, being successful is not bad, and they're making out success being bad. They're saying, "Oh, if you're rich, you're this, you're that, and you stole, you did this." No, it's not that way. Shouldn't be
I
that way at
mean,
all.
there are certain cases, you're seeing this more and more with, Disney and kind of some of these big corporations that do use the government,
Right,
to unfairly manipulate things, and that is a valid criticism, but that's crony capitalism. That's not capitalism in its pure form. And being rich on its own is not a bad thing. I
right.
don't think. Striving to improve yourself is not a bad thing. I mean, honestly, I've told someone the other day, I said, I think the problem with a lot of this woke shit is that it's forced down everybody's throat. I don't think people would have as much of a problem with transgenders or any of this LGBT stuff if it just weren't shoved down people's throat. If we
That's
weren't,
the whole idea. And that to me, that's the whole idea. The whole idea is I don't care what you do in your bedroom or who you are, who you sleep with, what you dress like,
yeah,
what you want to be. Because I remember 2 years ago in Las Vegas, we had people who were dressed up like as women, transsexual, probably at the meetup because we were there in a public location. It was a bar where they had the Star Trek and convention going at the same time.
yeah,
And I do not care. I didn't care if they weren't women. I went up to them and said, and I introduced myself, said, "Hi, nice to see you here. How are you enjoying yourself here?" And again, yeah, we have a Star Trek convention, but we also have a geeky game. I was introducing myself to them,
yeah.
and I didn't care who they were, who they sat with, how they dressed up, or whatever. And people said, those were guys, were they? Yeah, I know. It does, but again, we're out at a public event having a good time. They're having a good time with their crew. why would you bring it up? What's the point of like pointing out to something that do I feel so offended? I'm going to say something bad. No, I'm happy that they're enjoying themselves. I'm happy that I'm enjoying myself, and we're all one happy family. Because again, we're
Yeah.
all human beings at the end of the day. That's the whole idea. You know.
Yeah, I mean, Kevin Conroy, who played Batman in the animated series, just
Richard?
passed, like
Hey,
earlier this week. And I didn't know this, but apparently he was a gay man, and pretty openly. And it was kind of like an open secret, but someone asked me like, how did you feel, about that? And I'm like, well, I didn't even know that he was gay until after he died. B, even if I did know that, it wouldn't have made a difference because for me, Kevin Conroy is the definitive Batman of my generation. I'm not going to remember him as a gay man per se. I'm going to remember him as my Batman of,
Mm-hmm.
the Batman of the last 30 years that my entire generation, and before that even grew up knowing. I don't really,
Yeah.
it doesn't really make any difference to me. I guess if that means something to you, then cool. But for the vast majority of people, it doesn't, I don't think.
Yeah, it never did. I didn't even know. I don't even care because again, what he exemplified is something important to other people. And again, you
Yeah.
get that. Who was it? What's the other? What's recently? Oh, perfect example. Two examples, or I should say three. The woman king who had Viola Davis saying, "If you don't see this film, you don't like black women as leads, or you don't." And then the other one was the whole idea that don't go see Black Panther, give your ticket to a black person. And then the exact opposite was Tom Cruise, who before the movie starts says, "What? Thank you for being here. This movie is for the fans. Acknowledge the fans." And what is Top Gun Maverick doing now? Over $1 billion
Yeah.
because it didn't preach it. What it is it entertained. He had a story, he put it out there. The pandemic slowed things down, but again, in the end, the quality of that film, the way it made you feel was I appreciated it, and I love watching that film because it's something that it's important. Because my dad was a Navy guy, so I remember seeing that film when it came out with my dad. My
Yeah.
dad retired. My dad was in the Navy from 57 through 80, and he retired in 1980, and he loved the Navy, and he just wanted to go see it all the time. So we saw every time there was a Navy movie came out, we were there. It was crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I like I said, I think it was the fact that, like Top Gun didn't preach at anyone either. It was just it was just a story. That was it. And I
Exactly.
think it did $1 billion. Good stories still perform well. It's I mean, the reason why all this woke stuff performs well during the opening weekend is because, it gets a lot of publicity. But after the opening weekend, a lot of these films do not do well at all. Whereas like Top Gun Maverick was a blockbuster during the entire summer.
yeah.
Oh
I
yeah.
think Top Gun Maverick was number. It was something like week 5. Top Gun Maverick was the number one movie that weekend, and it was week 5 of Top Gun
Yeah.
Maverick, and it beat the other movies that weekend for box office revenue,
I
which
know.
is amazing.
And I mean, I do have to kind of criticize my side, which is the conservatives, a little bit on this somewhat, but like, conservatives will do the complaining too
Ooh,
at times.
what do you got
Like,
there? Oh, you got your business cards. There you
oh,
go.
cool. Specifically, I saw like an article like 2 weeks ago where someone was complaining out Kevin Costner, star of Yellowstone, endorses so-called candidate, and it's like, I don't care. He's still, like, I might not agree with the politics, but he's still great in Yellowstone, and that show is still phenomenal. So, why are we doing the whole hand wringing out too? I don't like
Reuben,
it on
if you're
either
hearing
side.
crazy noises, I'm sorry to talk over you, Sam, but you're going to hear some crazy noises to my left. My wife she had a great day at the craft show. Okay, that squeaking you hear is her cleaning off some glass. If you're wondering where the sound's coming from, I apologize, but she had a really great day today, and she's got to redo the stocks, so she's doing
Okay, no,
stuff before
that's
we go to
fine.
bed
It's
tonight.
nothing.
I saw you
I'm
looking
going-
around, and I had to tell
I'm
you.
going.
man.
Is there a mouse here somewhere?
It's fine. It's fine. Thank you for that. Actually, I was like, geez, I just fixed my office chair. It shouldn't be that freaky,
Right.
No, it's fine.
You guys were talking
Yes.
about Top
Sam?
Gun, man. My brother and
Sam,
I, we covered that
the thing,
top 10
thing about actors
box
like Kevin
office.
Costner and the thing about Kevin Costner, just quickly with somebody complaining, conservatives complaining, he just endorsed this candidate. I relish actors who can leave their politics when they put on the costume and the makeup. Paul Newman did that. Paul Newman did that in spades. You can watch any number of Paul Newman movies and never know what his politics were.
No.
Kevin Costner is very good at that. I'll give him that. He's not my favorite actor, but he is very good at leaving his politics behind when he puts on the persona that he's playing in a movie. And I want to give credit where credit's due there. And I don't like people on the right who make those associations any more than I like people on the left who make those associations. That's unfair. If the actor manages to create a coherent character that you believe in, and it works in the story, and it makes the story moves the story forward, and you're invested in that character, it doesn't goddamn matter what that person does in their private life. It doesn't matter whether they're gay, liberal, conservative. I don't give a shit. I give a shit when they shove it in my face and make it part of their performance,
Right.
or the reason I should go see the movie. That's
Right.
bullshit. But you're right. Both sides do it, and I think it's bullshit both ways.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. It's and I'm like I said, I'm done with it because if the fact that they put McConnell again as Senate leader, oh my God, this is like, oh no, done. I'm done. I'm just done with this. I'm just done with all this stuff. You know what? That's what I'm saying. Like I said, to me, MAGA is just about being a good American. Helping out your fellow man anytime you can. I did again. Like I said, I get up in the morning, have some breakfast, go out, shop, do some things. I say hello to everybody. I say hello to the nice ladies. I talk to people. You have to be personable and all that, and then just be a good person, and then hold the door open for somebody. If they complain, then it's on them. It's like I'm gonna have manners.
It is on them. It is their problem, no doubt. I mean,
again, but again,
right?
if you're a charming man, like you should be, like me, then do be that. Again, it goes a long way when you walk in and going, "Good morning, everybody. How are you? How are you doing today?" And I just say that because I decided recently that it's like I'm not going to be down this stuff anymore. I'm down enough. I'm already down enough being sick. And again, as soon as this is over, I go to bed. I'm hurting all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I just sleep and I wake up and go, you know what? I made it through the day and let's do it tomorrow. And then the same thing, be happy and all that stuff. I'm going to be happy.
Mm-hmm.
There's too much good that can happen. So look forward to the good.
Yeah, I always tell people to watch out. Don't get so wrapped up in the bad stuff, and you got to remember the good stuff. Of course, I work for a rehab, so I have to tell those folks that because most people that are just starting recovery, they're getting into themselves and they're digging into some bad stuff they've been into, right? And it can really weigh on your mind. And I always remind them, hey, look. You did good stuff too. Balance it. Make sure you remember when you're doing your balance sheet. But what I wanted to say about Top Gun, look, my brother and I, every Thursday when we do our headline-driven show, we show you the box office receipts. That movie was available on digital for $20. You could watch it at home, and people were still shelling out $40 to pay for way too much for popcorn to go see this in the theater. It was making millions even after you could buy it on friggin' digital.
I know.
It was crazy.
I know, but that's
you can
that's
say
something
what
we
you
haven't
want
seen
about
it for a
Tom
while.
Cruise, but I'd never see him on Twitter. He's not throwing stuff in your face. He's just out there making good movies. You know?
Yep.
And
yeah,
thanking
he's
the
a flake. He's crazy, but he don't throw it in your face.
And he's the last of the movie stars.
Yeah, he's pretty much, it's a dying breed. Putting asses in seat names, he's about the only one left.
But I do feel bad about who is it? Liam Hemsworth. What's going on there? With the whole Alzheimer's scare?
Really?
Well, the fact that he discovered something, a possibility.
Yeah, he was tested. And he has 2 gene markers that
you said Liam Hemsworth. You mean Liam Neeson? Is that who you're talking
about?
No.
Hemsworth. No, Hemsworth. Chris
Thor.
Hemsworth.
Thor.
Oh, Chris Hemsworth.
Chris. I'm sorry. I missed that.
Liam. I was like,
sorry.
Chris Hemsworth. Chris has just announced that he's discovered that he has 2 genetic markers that predispose him to Alzheimer's disease. Okay. So he has an elevated risk of Alzheimer's. And so he has announced recently that he will finish up his current contractual obligations, and then he's going to be taking some time off from acting to spend more time with his family and doing the things he wants to do. Because he obviously doesn't know how much time he has left. But, I expect that if the right movie deal came across his desk and the right script showed up in his inbox from his agent, he might well do another movie.
Can't stop your life.
Right now, he's pulling back.
Yeah.
He wants to live his life. He's like, yeah.
It's interesting because again, and that's great. Thank you. Yeah, and I myself I'm facing that dilemma, and I have no one to talk to about it. So I just don't know. Mm-hmm. And the way that I've been doing it since I was diagnosed in 2016 with my condition, and I took the pharmaceuticals, which did nothing, took cannabis, which helped completely, except when right before the pandemic is when everything started happening personally for me. Mm-hmm. In February of 2019, my wife passes away. Then at the end of December, I lose my best friend. And so then I'm going into 2020, basically having lost my entire support structure, friendship, group, and wife. And then then it starts unraveling during the summer, and I basically say fuck it and basically start going out. That's when I basically said that was my breaking point. Did I have a nervous breakdown or a breakdown? Maybe, but I started going out and asking women to go out and go out and dates because I had nothing else to live for, basically, because that was the whole point with my life. Mm-hmm. And yeah, that's the whole thing. So what do you do when you're faced? Because again, right after that, I had another attack, and I had an attack again in this past March, mm-hmm. And it affected me this entire summer. So I'm now here back at Orlando, rebuilding my life again after another attack. But this attack is worse in the sense that I'm weak. But people who saw me in Orlando said I was looking much better than I was, and I am. I'm fighting for my life. But it's like, what do I do in the future when you're dealt with that? And it's like the same thing he's dealt with. You find out he has these markers. So what do you do with your life? That's the whole idea. Yeah. When you're faced with a situation, I am basically the way I'm how'd you say it? I'm not trying to be rambling on. Well, I mean, I am rambling on, but I've been through so much that this is a big change for me, and I'm just doing the best I can. That's all I can say.
Yeah, so, that's all any of us can do, Reuben. You got to live your life, brother. I mean,
I know,
really.
And that's what I'm doing. Because I basically saying I'm throwing caution to the wind because it's like I don't want to go to sleep saying
do what your medical personnel tell you to do, and all that stuff. But you can live your life, man. You got to.
Yep, I do. That's what I do.
Yep.
Well, I mean, I've had a disability basically since birth. I've had cerebral palsy, and same thing. Like I've got to, live my life, the way I'm going to, with the exception of, some medical advice. But, that's kind of another point that I'm glad that Reuben brings up, because people always ask me once they find out that I have cerebral palsy, they, not everyone, but a lot of people do feel, sorrow, pity for me. And I can't really, sometimes it does get a bit annoying, but other times, I just explain, hey, look, I have friends who are in way worse shape than I am. There are other people who have other, physical conditions.
Right.
I'm fortunate that I'm in the space, I'm in the position where I'm at, where I can still do things. And I mean, I don't want to, single out Reuben here, but he's like a perfect example. He's, someone who, he's in a very precarious situation and very challenging situation, in some ways worse than what I'm dealing with, and yet he's still trucking along. So, shoot, if that's what he's doing, then why can't I, or why can't someone else?
Exactly.
So,
Yeah, and again, but again, I don't know. I'm self-driven all my entire life. That's the whole idea.
yeah,
And it hurts because I was just up until, like, my God, when was it? 2016, 2015, around there. I would move, and I would basically do things by myself, like a king size bed. That's nothing. I can pick that up and move it, or the couch. I can pick it up, and now I can't do anything. I can't pick anything up. It just muscle just gives out. Everything just is weak. So it's very, like, weird in a way. And I feel like that's why I basically had that introspective introspective discussion. Why are things the way they are right now? I wonder, because the way the world is. But again, what should I do? And I've only determined that I can't fight. I can't. So then I'm going to love. So that's the whole idea. So that's where I'm turning that whole idea of, like, I'm not going to take any arms up, but I can talk to people and get people to come together. So I guess I don't know.
Yeah. I mean,
and I have fun.
Yeah.
There you go.
The one thing I think that you're doing, that I've been doing for years now, is, podcasting. That microphone that you have in front of you is very powerful. And people hem and haw, oh, you need to get out there in elections and actually, do door knocking and, grassroots and whatnot. And if you can, great. But if you can't, like you and I, we're limited. So, use your voice instead. That's what I was.
Get the word out any way you can. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. But again, and the word I want to get out now is about to have fun, because because, like I said, starting in 2024, because I'm gonna put together my plan for the next year and whatever. And again, my health's my most important thing, because I do feel bad right now, but I'm still pushing on right now, because I want this, is I want to have the fun, but I want to get back to my music, playing music in a band again. I want to do that. I want to start writing music again. I want to start doing painting again. I want to start playing the piano again. I want to get a piano and start composing and doing stuff and having fun. That's my whole life now. I want to have fun now.
I can tell you right now, if you dig into your passions like you're talking about, because I was in the military first, then I was in the nightclub business for almost 20 years, and then I was in manufacturing for almost 20 years. And now all my kids are grown. I've done for them. And now me and my wife, there's not enough hours in the day for us now, in a good way. I'm working on a comic book. I'm working on my YouTube channel. We got this show this weekend. I mean, there's not enough hours in a day. It used to be not enough hours in a day, stress-wise.
Exactly.
Now it's in a good way.
Yeah.
So, and that's what you're going to find. And you just keep rolling with it, man.
Yeah, because
you know what? You'd be surprised, the mind's power over the body, how much better you're going to end up feeling.
I know, that's what I want. And that's what I want. But the way I did it was so weird. When you think about this is how crazy it is. So in March of this year, I'm working for this company. I'm a contractor. Okay. On March 25th, they say, hey, today's your last day. I said, okay, fine, whatever. Like I knew that was coming down as I was getting less and less work to assign to me. And I was a contractor anyway. So whatever. Then the next day is when I have my seizure, which is really freaking ridiculous. So I'm laughing about it in a way when I'm not feeling well. And then I basically go to the hospital, and since they cut me off, or since I got cut off right then and there, the premium was due. I couldn't pay I paid the premium, so I was covered right there for those hospital stays there. But then they wanted an extra $30,000, and by the time that was over, they wanted me to pay more money. It was just crazy. Yeah. So I had to spend over like $45,000 in hospital bills over the summer before I even got evicted from my place because I had no more money. Wow. It was crazy. And I fought back. And I said, okay, what do I need to do? And everyone privately people that were not friends, but associates that I had talked to in the past were telling me just go on disability. And just, it's time for you to stop working. And I went, no, I can't do that. I need to get insurance and all that stuff. So I'm here sitting on a couch, poor, broke, no money, nothing coming in, looking for work, and I've got a job with full-time benefits. And my first week, I was sitting on a couch. That would be where I would sleep there until I got some money to get an apartment to come back and get back on my feet. Didn't take anything, not one dime for anybody out there that didn't want to help out. A lot of people did help, and I pay them all back when I get settled in. But that's the whole idea. I kept on fighting, and
that's what you got to do.
Yeah. That's what you got to do, and that's why I say no. I want no one else to give up every single day in anything you do. Yeah. Enjoy your life.
It's a good message. Keep telling people that, man. I'll be right back. I'll be right back.
And but again, it's like I think that's what they call adulting, because you're seriously you life gives you lemons. Well, what do? Well, you can make lemonade, or you can find a guy to whom life gave vodka, and you can make cocktails. But you have to take the hand you're dealt.
Well, life did give me lemons.
You don't get do-overs.
You know that? I made lemon bars. Just kidding.
There you go.
I actually love it. I love it. Yeah, I know.
It isn't childhood. Childhood is, somebody else will take care of it for you. You'll get a do-over. You screwed up at the plate. You didn't hit the ball. Fine. I want a do-over. Okay. You play golf. You get a mulligan. In real life, you don't get mulligans and do-overs.
No, you don't.
You start from right here, and you figure out where am I going to go and how am I going to get there. That's all you can do.
Like how many what's it they say that Michael Jordan is the one that he's missed so many shots, or how many he's missed more shots than, and I don't know. Again, you're not going to you're again you if you only focus on people who have succeeded, they failed many times. All the different things that they've done. Everyone has failures. I embrace my failures because, again, I'm not afraid to say I fucked up in my life. I've done fuck ups. I've done successes. I've done great things. And I've done fucked up things because I messed up. But I own it because I did it. I didn't come crying to anybody else for it. That's what I live my life.
Yep.
Got to do it that way. Got to be strong. But again, here we are, and it's like saying, it's like I really like going back to the show, the ancient apocalypse. I love that because, again, I see it as just one thing. I see it as the idea that, and Plato said it in a way, and again, it's in our story. It's in our story, the human story. It's like, hubris and can be your downfall, and it's true. If you think you're the shit and that no one can touch you, and you just become plump and fat and don't sit in your laurels, then you'll get knocked down. That's the whole idea. That's why you got to keep pushing. And again, no one. And the thing is that right now, who's being pushed are those Twitter employees. They're finally getting some pushback on their existence of being. They think they are it. And it's not. And then the same thing with Hollywood, same thing with entertainment these days. We want good quality entertainment. We don't want to be preached to at all. That's how it is.
That's right.
Well, a lot of the Twitter employees are getting a major wake-up call that the world doesn't work the way they thought it did.
Yeah, they finding out what the rest of us in the workforce found out. You know, you're
long
expendable.
time ago.
Yeah, you're expendable.
Yeah. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I have been laid off, and the very first time I was laid off, I'd freak the fuck out of me. It did. I couldn't believe it. Going, what do you mean you laid me off? What do you mean? And I didn't know what I was doing. It's just I don't know. It's just yeah. And that was the first time. I remember the first time. And then it was crazy. And then just telling. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, well, all I was going to say is I was in college right before the pandemic, and I actually had an internship with the college, and it looks like they were going to offer me a full-time position after I graduated, and then the pandemic hit, and they basically laid me off from my internship and basically said, we're absorbing the marketing department into one of the, bigger college campuses. Sorry, but good luck to you. And that was kind of like a big moment because I hadn't worked for them for pay, but I had worked my ass off. And even so, I was like, okay, what am I going to do now? Am I going to, complain, or am I going to, keep pushing forward? And I kept pushing forward, and I'm like, I can do some of this marketing stuff on my own. So that's what I'm doing now. I've graduated. So
there you go.
Yeah.
Look at this, Harry. What's happening at Twitter and Warner Brothers Discovery employees is a wake-up call to anybody who thinks they're untouchable. That is correct. That is very true. No one's untouchable. Again, life is not fair. It never was fair. Again, there's always going to be somebody younger, more attractive, that'll do the job better, get less pay and all that stuff. Or whatever.
Or you could have your entire business decimated by the virus of unknown origin, and lose an 18-year career because when restaurants aren't open, they don't need tableware. So the glass manufacturer you work for doesn't need you anymore.
Yeah,
that's right.
And they shut the dours.
Yeah, that's the worst thing. That's the one thing that also that I did during the pandemic when it started was because again. Okay, I'll be I was the 1%. Okay, you could yell at me and call me rich and bullshit if you want to. I don't know, but no. But I would get up in the morning and I would go have breakfast, and I had a nice breakfast. I would spend like $100 on breakfast, and then I would go out to lunch at the fancy restaurant, another $100 for lunch, and then $100 for dinner. And then dinner would be I would get there and have drinks first, and then have the meal, and then have drinks afterward, then go home. I just had a normal life. And to me, it was normal. But that's what I'm saying. But now I don't do that stuff. And I said, no, I'm not doing that again. Even if I made the money back now, I would not do lunches like that anymore. I would stop. But that's what I'm saying. But I learned at the time. The servers were a family because I would sit there and they would take care of me and all that stuff. So when the restaurants closed down, a lot of these waiters and bartenders they were pissed as fuck when they lost their jobs, and I felt so bad. And so I would order from them during the pandemic. It was just like but again, it's just like and then they would leave.
We supported the restaurants that we really dug. By doing the curbside stuff and all that, we did it as often as we could. But But
what pissed me off was when that video came out with that in California, where that restaurant owner, they had the caterers that were special that Hollywood did not do, and then they closed down the restaurant next door to it, and it was just like, okay, what's going on here? It's getting crazy. And then when you had the big box stores stay open, but the non-essential restaurants were closed. It was just crazy.
Yeah. That was that was a transfer. Because if you had the clout to have the lobbyists, your stores were given dispensation, And if you didn't,
Yeah,
you were mom and pop on Main Street. You got closed down.
Yeah,
Yep.
And
that
that was true for 2 years almost in some
that's
I
cases.
know.
that's when I realized that the whole thing was political, and also, I mean, I don't want to get your channel banned, but the other thing that was really kind of eye opening to me was when they told everyone to, stay in the homes and lock the doors and board up the windows. But when George Floyd was killed, and people were rioting in the street, that was okay. But
Yes.
but the rest of us, go back indoors.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, there's
Yeah,
there's a
it
term
took.
there's a term for that. There's a term for that the UN Human Rights Council pays attention to, and Amnesty International pays attention to. It's called house arrest.
Yeah.
Mhm.
yeah,
And if you think about it, most of the world was put under house arrest for a period of time.
Yep.
oh yeah,
And
Mm-hmm.
and I watched a program on the Black Death from 1630, whatever it was. Samuel Pepys'
Mhm.
diary recounts it. And the response at the time was if somebody showed symptoms of the disease, they and their family were barricaded in their house, and nobody could leave, which resulted in usually the entire family dying. And
Yeah.
they had a few hospitals where they could segregate the ill, but they didn't have enough of them. And one of the things that they mentioned very briefly without any commentary at the end of the documentary was the assessment when the disease finally burned itself out after a year was that if they'd had more hospitals and fewer lockups, they might have had fewer casualties.
Yeah.
And all I could think of was I'm watching this program going, this was 1630 something. That's very nearly 400 years ago now, and we still haven't learned that damn lesson.
Mhm.
We're gonna find out. Hindsight is always 2020, and
Mhm.
I'm just gonna tell you a quick story if I can to
sure.
reinforce the point. Basically, boys and girls, we just witnessed a reset, a transfer of capital from one place to another.
Mhm.
I worked the entire time during the lockdown because I was essential personnel, but I had to have my papers to travel, of course.
Oh, jeez.
Well, yeah, the company
I
issued
know.
us a
I
letter
know it's sad. Yeah.
for in case we got stopped by the police. And anyway, I was a furnace tech. I melted the glass for Libby here in Shreveport, and my boss he comes up to me one day and we're working on this new machine that we're working on, and he says, I got to show you a few articles real quick. He said I think something bad's about to happen. I said, why'd you say that? He showed me an article about Hertz Rent-A-Car, their entire board of directors voting themselves big ass bonuses. And then he showed me the next article. It was about a week later they filed for bankruptcy. And then he shows me an article from the home office of Libby Glass, which is in Toledo, and it says that the board of directors all had gotten huge bonuses. And I looked at him, I said, "You're kidding." And he goes, "Nah, they just did that, man." And I was like, he looked at me dead in the face. He goes, "I guarantee you they're going to friggin' file for bankruptcy in a week." And he wasn't wrong. They did.
Wow.
And I was like, son of a bitch. Wow. They're giving themselves golden parachutes and then they're redoing the company. They offered us when they shut it down January 1st of 2021 last year. I was there. I walked out on New Year's Eve for the last time. I was there when we actually stopped the glass flow, and it was that morning. I had worked 12 hours and everything, and they were telling us, you can be part of the cleanup crew if you want to come back. You're not required to. I was like, look, is it going to mess up my severance? And they're like, no. I said, good, because I knew what the cleanup crew meant. They were paying people to help pack up the machines. They were all going to Mexico. All they did was shut down our plant and move everything to another location.
That's what they wanted. That's what they needed.
They were just restructuring their company. They used that opportunity to restructure and slim down and up their profits. That's what
this is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. This is why this is why I say it's a total and utter joke now, and I buy this completely.
Yep.
We are watching a video game, and we're
billing. I always say,
the victims.
Yeah, Reuben. I always say we're living in a bad
now.
Science fiction movie. That's what we're living in.
Because you have the Democrats who are all about social justice and about the fact that we have to support groups of people who can't help themselves. Again, and if you don't want to do this and help the collective, then you're a racist and you're a homophobe. You're outside of what everybody. Okay, you're isolated. You should be isolated. Then the right side, it's all about money, profits, and this and that, and it's bullshit. But they're all colluding. It's all stupid. It's all dumb.
Yeah.
I don't want any more war. I don't want any more bullshit like this. I'm done with this all. We should be building manufacturing places here in the United States. We should be helping our Americans get the jobs and we should be building the computers here. Apple should be built here. Google should be built here. We can do this. We have all the oil, all this here. Do it here. But no, we got to do the global shit, put it out there, and then we're all here stuck in people and Americans just living off of TikTok and bullshit like that, and be on Twitter, and not even know how to take care of themselves.
Yeah,
can't even cook an egg.
The podcast with Ian Slater makes a good point there. He says he's in trucking and it's bad. They need drivers. I saw a story the other day that we've got a nursing shortage. There's a lot of critical shortages, and it's because they told people you can stay home and not work. And a lot of them have not come back to work.
But do you know what they're also doing? They're also the people like who was in New York, the cops and the nurses, all the people that they laid off. Yeah, they have to rehire them back and back pay because they were unjustly let go.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. I just it's like I tell my brother every once in a while I have to walk him in off the ledge. He called me one time. I think it was the last year Obama was in office. And he said, "Did you see this story about them buzzing the West Coast? These Russian fighters? If Reagan was in the White House, this wouldn't be happening." And I said, "Dude, it happens under every administration. The thing you want to ask yourself is, why do they want you to know about it right now? Why are they trying to make you mad about it right now?"
Because that's the distraction.
Right. And I said, look, they're just probing defenses. Every country does it. Don't worry about that. I said, what you need to worry about, if you really want to change politics, and I told my brother this, I said, look, how's your wife doing? Oh, she's fine. How's your house? Just fine. Do you own a gun? Yes. I said, if you want to change things, Daniel, go get on your local school board. Go get on your city council, because all politics are local. Don't worry about stuff that's above your pay grade. Worry about your own backyard. That's where it starts, bro.
At the most, worry about things at the state level if you really want to get,
Yeah. Right.
Absolutely.
And the thing is, and again, my entire life, I grew up in Texas, but I spent the majority of my life in Illinois because I left Texas. I just ran away theoretically, not really. I left for college in 1990, and then I left there in 2021 for here in Florida, and practically my entire election voting record is pretty stinky. I did vote for Bush in 88, but then I voted for Perot in 92. I was a Perot voter in 92. And then after that, but again, my vote for Perot was a vote against the system because the system is corrupt. I knew back then how corrupt it was.
Oh yeah.
So I never got my person never won. Really, it was because my vote was always against somebody else. It wasn't for anything at all. So I'm sick and tired of voting for voting against people because again, well, I'll vote for this person because that person's worse than this person. They're all stupid. I'm just done. I'm just done with it all.
Well, what I do, Reuben, is I do my due diligence and I throw my hat behind who there are no perfect politicians. First of all, that's a contradiction in terms. All right.
Yep.
There's no perfect ones, but I put my money. I do send $50 during a race to a candidate that I think is the best for the job. And for instance, the last election, I put it behind Tulsi Gabbard, and all you can do is what you believe is going to be right.
Yeah,
and
that's all it is.
As long as you're making an informed decision, that's more than 90% of the public does. I mean, most of them are just sheep watching the news and doing what they say to do.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, and look, you were saying earlier how you had these exorbitant meals and stuff. Look, when did it become a crime to be successful and make money? When did that become a crime?
Recently, very recently.
Last time I checked, it was the American dream. I thought, but I must be crazy. I don't know. There's nothing wrong with that. So
yeah, no, and again, we were here at in Orlando for the meetup, and then every night we went out to eat. I basically, I didn't have to, but I did. I bought for the guys that we were with, and it's just, we're having dinner. Might as well have, again, it wasn't expensive to me. It wasn't expensive at all. Literally, we went to go eat. We had pizza in Orlando, in Universal Studios. I had a bunch of people there sitting with me. I bought pizza and drinks for everybody. It was $60. That's not a lot of money for everybody having two pizzas and the drinks. Yeah, that's not a lot to me. I thought it'd be like more because it's Universal Studios. But no, I said shit, it's cheap. Yeah, here, have some more drinks. I did. I ordered 2 more drinks.
The whole thing, I always tell people, is just be informed. Do your job as a citizen, and that is to be as informed as you can be about these candidates and pick the right one for what you believe the direction should be. So
exactly.
That's it.
The thing that is driving me crazy right now that I've been dealing with is this whole thing of Trump versus DeSantis right now.
Yeah, and we were and Matt and I were talking about it before, and Matt was basically I don't know. Again, I'll try and say it. My point again. My point is, Trump is being Trump. Trump will basically say whatever. That's part of the whole spiel he is. And what did Ron DeSantis do? It's his politics. It's his talk. Whatever. We're okay. I'm focused on being governor. He can focus on that. And that was it. He diffused it by not saying it's not an issue.
Yeah,
it's basically to me. But to me, Trump and DeSantis is like Jeremy and Ryan. They talk shit about each other. They're in the end they're working together. They're on the same page. It's just bullshit. It's just theater.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was gonna say. I like them both, and I don't like when people who have been in political commentary, and I mean, I've been doing podcasting for 15 years, are like, no, you need to choose either Ron DeSantis or Trump now. And it's like, well, whoever is the candidate, I'll vote for them when the time comes. But until then, I'm not going to badmouth DeSantis. I mean, a lot of the people who are badmouthing DeSantis, they don't live here like you and I do.
Right.
And I mean, as far as Trump goes, I mean, I think he was cheated, but I also, if he runs, I'll vote for him, but until then, I'll just, keep nodding when he says good things and, continue to kind of correct him and whatnot when I think he says cringe things. So.
Right. And everyone's in the... Go ahead.
I'd like to point out, and if you look back at 2016 and the raft of Republicans that were in the primary to start with, how many placeholders there were, and that's been my experience with elections for a lot of my life, is that there's one person who's might possibly be a viable candidate, might actually do some good things, and a whole bunch of people who just appear to be in line because it's their turn. And
That's
2
good.
years out, 2 years out from almost 2 years out from the next election, the presidential election, I just like to remind anybody who's a Republican that if you can remember the last time you had two strong, potentially strong candidates like DeSantis and Trump at the same time, I would love to hear about it
This
because
early?
I don't remember it.
This early.
This
That's
early?
it.
Yeah.
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 I don't remember it. So the point I'm making is I think a lot of this Trump versus DeSantis thing is being ginned up by people who have an ulterior motive.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no,
Pay no
I've
attention to them, ignore them, and watch what Trump and DeSantis do and say over the next year and a half until the campaigns really get underway, or a year and a quarter, and then the primaries really get underway, and then you can decide which one you want to support in a primary and then vote for in the election. I just think that this is so far out that anybody,
Yeah,
I
it
mean,
is.
a
It is.
year is
That's
is
what
a
I was gonna
political
say.
eternity for
Yeah.
polling. Yeah,
But here, I'll
a
tell you
year
one
is a
thing.
political eternity in polling.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
2 years is
I know.
ridiculous.
Yeah, it is. It is. Because again, myself, because it's like I've never voted in the primary and didn't really care about the primaries. I've never have. I really don't. I basically say, okay, go all the way up to convention. Who's the person? That's it. That would be it. I didn't really care. I did not care because in the end, they're both morons.
Mhm.
Both parties are idiots.
Mhm.
So that's why. So I just and I would vote for whoever. I voted third party in 2 elections. Like, 'cause I don't like these people. I don't like this stupidness.
Mhm.
I it's the corruption I don't like. Again, if people were they could write a sentence. This is the one bill and it does this. You all want to pass it? No, pass. But no, they got to put bills with that are like this many pages. You can barely read it. It contradicting language, and it's just stupid. Just make it simple. But they don't want to do that.
Well,
They don't want that.
Red Shirt just made a very good point. If you remember, at this stage of the game, back in the 2014, 2 years out, there was 10 people glutted up for the Republican nomination, and Trump, everybody thought was a joke.
Yeah.
We have no clue who it's going to be 2 years from now. We have no
Exactly.
clue whatsoever, because I mean, he's right. Fucking political things happen at lightning speed, so there's no telling who it's going to be. And I don't think DeSantis needs to leave Florida yet. I think he needs to keep building his base down in Florida before he even thinks about running for president. Really, I think he needs.
What they need to do is follow the
while.
model, because again, what DeSantis did in Florida is he had a good ground game. That's what you need now. The Republicans don't have a ground game. They have no culture game either. They're very they don't have the pulse on what the kids are talking about these days.
Yeah.
It's at all.
And that's something I wanted to make a point of when you were talking about the local is important.
Yeah.
But I'm a big fan, and boy, do I miss him. Andrew Breitbart, who was brilliant, and he was not in politics, but he was writing about it, and he wrote something quite a long time ago that I've since has really resonated with me. He said politics is downstream of culture.
Yeah.
If you let someone else control the culture, you're going to let them control the politics.
Yep.
And you're talking about what young people are into, and Reuben, you and I both hang out a lot on culture, pop culture channels.
Yeah.
That pop culture, the reason why people like, Gary and Culture Casino and Comics Division are actually, to me, significant is they are making a case for making the not accepting the culture that's being rammed down our throats,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
because that
Exactly.
culture is going to result in a politics we're not going to like.
Yeah, in Red Shirt, it's interesting that you bring up Breitbart because I'm 27, so I'm probably the youngest one here. I'm on this panel for sure. But Breitbart, when I was a freshman in high school, that was when Breitbart kind of began his journey as far as notoriety. You know, that was when he started Big Hollywood. He died my senior year of high school, which was 2012, and I had started doing a political show in 2008 when I was like 14, but Breitbart was really the one who, you know, really inspired me to get serious about doing a show. And I mean, and so it's interesting that you bring a Breitbart because after 2020, I was like, well, do I really want to keep doing a political show, or do I want to shift more into pop culture? And I was like, I can be more effective in pop culture because that's what I've always been into more. I'm a movie guy. I'm a comic book guy more so than politics. So that's how I ended up in this circle, oddly enough.
But I can't understand why people don't understand simple politics, like how many congressmen there are, why there are, what the number there are, senators. You know, what the terms are, how long they've been, how long they serve for. They don't know. They don't care.
They've been carefully untaught.
Yeah, I can tell.
That's true.
I can tell you why. It's for my generation in particular, for the millennials, it's been the schools from kindergarten through college. They started forcing my generation with all this, touchy feely, crap that got shoved down my throat, my generation's throat, and then basically none of the baby boomers in the conservative movement really cared about it until it was too late. And now we're here. So yeah.
And I myself, I'm just blown away by that, because again, I thirst for knowledge all the time. I'm here on YouTube.
Yeah.
I'll look something up. I'll research it, and I want to know things and again, I figured it out in a way. It's the Department of Education when that was created, and all of the stuff that they put out, the whole No Child Left Behind, all that crap fucked everything up. When government tries to get involved, they fuck it up. They did it then,
Reuben,
and they did it.
I got to tell you, it's 100 years old. It's not the Department of Education. That was the.
Well, I know it's 100 years old. It's 100 years old. Yeah.
The point is that the philosophy of education that resulted in what we have, and people say, whenever somebody says to me, our school systems are broken, I say, no, they're not. They're working exactly as they were designed.
The way they were meant to be. Yeah.
They were were meant to be this way. The bottom line is that I'll give a personal example. I'm not a fan of, quote, literature. Why? Because my English teachers in high school managed to get me to hate it because of the way they taught it.
Yeah.
And so I don't like almost any of the books that I had to read in high school because my English teachers made it a chore, and they made it awful to try and analyze and come up with something to say about them. And by the time I was done with high school, I never wanted to see any of those books or any books like them again.
Where'd you go to school?
You can do the same thing to students with other topics, is my point. And I think
what state were you in?
What's that?
What state?
I went to school in New Jersey and college in Massachusetts.
Okay. Oh my God. No, I'm just saying, because I love, again, what did I have? Did I have a teacher? No, I just wanted to know more. I world history. I remember wanting to know more, and kind of go to the library, and I went. I don't remember. Yes, I'm a nerd. I ran to the library to look at books, look at the atlas and stuff, and I don't know. There was no internet back then. I had to go run to the college library.
Yeah, you had to deal with a card catalog. I remember when I finally developed an interest in history, which I have a great interest in it.
Mm-hmm.
I asked myself the question, how did we get to the point in 1945 where the United States dropped 2 atomic bombs on Japan?
Ooh,
that was the question. And I started reading about World War II and then realized, well, to understand World War II, I need to understand World War I, because World War I led directly into World War II.
Mm-hmm.
And then I needed to understand how the world was organized, Europe in particular was organized prior to World War I. And by the time I was done, I had studied history, world history, from about 1871 to 1945 to answer my question.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's that long. It's that big of a gap.
Yes.
That big of a time span. It really is.
And I just started with one question that I just decided I didn't want to forget about. I wanted an answer to. And sometimes that's all it takes, but you have to be willing to put in the effort. And that's not something that, I mean, I know people who are almost proud to say they've never read a book.
Oh, fuck.
Which I find astonishing, given that I used to have a library in my house where I had a room that had nothing but books in it, and I must have had at least 3,000 books in that room.
I'd love to read more books.
Oh my God. No, I'm sorry. I'm just saying, it's my grandfather's house, because he had a room, that his office room. It was a combination bedroom office. Their son had passed away, so my uncle, so they converted it, but again, he always had it in there. But he had the books in there, and then everything, just looking into history and stuff, just real books. He owned these books, and he saw this. And then again, you see the old books, the old photographs. They didn't hide shit. They didn't uncensor anything. They showed stuff. Wounded Knee. They showed the pictures. They showed what they did. They showed the slaves. I saw these things as a kid. I went down rabbit holes. I know what the atrocities of men and the great things men have done. And it's crazy.
Did you?
But again, but here's one thing I wanted to, Richard, I want to ask you a question. And I've seen this happen too. You described the whole idea of the atomic bomb and all the events from 1870 to led to that moment. But you start to see patterns form and patterns repeat. Mm-hmm. We're seeing patterns repeat again. But now we are, those that are aware actually see and can put the dots together, or seeing the dots. And those people are who have read history. Because, as they say, if you do not know and understand history, you're damned to repeat it. And now it's happening, because the vast majority are not concerned about it, and they're still doing the same mistakes we did before. We're not learning.
Yeah. Well, now it's also kind of challenging, because now you have these revisionists who are also trying to rewrite history, and I can go on a whole tinfoil hat rant about that, but I mean that's another thing. Reuben, I'm assuming that with your grandfather, he was someone who he had the library, but I'm assuming he also explained some of the stuff to you.
Yeah, he explained a lot to me, and the one thing he explained to me, the one lesson he really did teach me, and he taught this lesson to me without teaching me. Life's not fair. I'll say it this way. Here, very briefly, about my grandfather. This is my mother's side. He was he grew up. He went to school for finance, and became a tax auditor. He would do auditing and all that stuff. He did accounting. So he was hired by the city to do the accounting. He discovered irregularities. He reported them, and they fired him. and the police, the whole city was corrupt and knew about it. So my grandfather decided to run for office, and again, got it. They cut him out, so he was canceled in the town that he lived in. So then he had to go and they wouldn't hire him to do accounting. They went after his business, so he had to become a vacuum cleaner salesman. And he still put three kids in college, lost a kid, and raised a family, and still studied. And he told me about this, all the story about how hard it is that these people are corrupt. So don't look out for them, but look out for yourself. You got to take care of yourself and learn, study, go be that. My mother was the oldest, was a teacher. Graduated high school at 15, graduated college at 19, taught until she was taught for like 45 years, 3-4 generations there. And my uncle was doctor, ENT. So my grandfather taught me that lesson that life's unfair, but keep fighting and be learned. Learn the books, read stuff.
But that's also kind of my point, is you had someone in your life personally who inspired you to, want to learn. So did I. But, I'll say this. A lot of teachers, unless they're really good, unless they can touch you personally, in terms of motivating you to learn, teachers aren't good at teaching at all. If they're just there to, to do the monkey business of, read this textbook and whatnot and do this worksheet, that's not teaching kids. That's just doing busy work.
Right.
And I think the reason why a lot of kids, it's not that they're stupid, it's not that they're not willing to learn, it's that they haven't had someone who's willing to take the time to inspire them.
Wow.
I agree with you entirely, Sam. I'll tell a funny story about my physics teacher in high school, because he inspired me to major in physics in college, and I have a physics degree because of him. Damn it.
Nice.
The day that we were going to start learning about electricity, we were warned by the first period physics students, look out for the yellow things. They're dangerous. So we didn't know what they meant. So we come into the class, and if you know the old cartoon, old newspaper cartoon BC with Thor and his wheel, he had a stone wheel with a log stuck through it as an axle, and he'd ride it around.
Oh no.
Well, a whole bunch of little Thor's wheels are lying on the lab tables in the physics class with black electrical tape wrapped around them. They look like ceramic discs with copper pipes sticking out of the end as an axle. And the teachers at the board writing up the first lesson, and people file in, they sit down, they get out their calculators and their notebook, and these things are lying on the tables. And I picked one of them up by the wheel and looked at it, and it didn't do anything, so I put it down, and I finished getting my stuff out. And the kid next to me picked up the wheel by putting his thumb and middle finger on the ends of the copper pipes and picked it up by the axle, and promptly gave out a yell and threw it across the room. And at the same time, about 3 other students did exactly the same thing. And the teacher turned around with an evil grin on his face and said, "Ladies and gentlemen, you have just learned the first lesson of electricity. If you don't know what it is, don't touch it." They were homemade capacitors. With about 10,000 volts and an amp or two across the two sides of the conductors.
Yeah.
And if you grabbed that thing, you were going to get belted by it.
Yeah, they got jolted.
Yeah, that was an absolute object lesson, and oh my goodness.
What's fun is when you're in
I'm so happy I didn't learn it the hard way.
What's fun is when you're in a soldering class, and you're putting together a circuit board, and somebody puts the solders the capacitor in backwards, and then they apply energy to it. That's pretty funny too, because it'll blow.
Uh-huh.
It'll blow right
Yeah.
there on the board. It'll blow right up
Right.
if it's polarized the wrong way.
Yeah, I wanted to say one thing here first in regards to, as I started up to a human, and just wanted to throw out to you my best. I again, we have people in our lives that need time to wake up, or won't never wake up. We have to love them wherever they are, and I know you do with your father.
Mhm.
And that's what the red. I love physics also, and I don't know why I've been thinking about a new theory on physics, and not new theory, but I have a theory, and I've been looking it over. Um, that electricity, there is an electric quantum field everywhere. That's what I believe.
Well,
And the
definitely.
fact
There's very few places that don't have an electric field. There's very few places that don't have a magnetic field.
I was going to say
a
magnetic field.
Gravitational field.
Yeah.
well, but
The thing is that fields don't end; they just get
right.
weaker, and they go.
Yes.
Basically, they go pretty much indefinitely. They just reach the point where nobody can measure them. That doesn't mean they're not there. It just means that they're beyond measuring.
Right.
And it's the thing with so the thing. All right, now you're going to get into weird stuff, and I'm not going to get into this because this is beyond even.
No.
me.
Well, for me, I'll just tell you briefly what my theory is. My theory is that electric electrons are everywhere, in the sense that they're not really electrons. It is just stuff that is electrons. It's everywhere, and every electron is shared amongst every molecule out there. It's free flowing. It does it. It's just because again, when you look at that atom, it's holding how many electrons it has, and 10 minutes time goes by. They're different electrons. It's just flowing through the field. Everything's in the field in a way. It's in that regard. And I'm just trying to figure out, because I figure it out. I'm trying to figure out gravity and what that really is, and what effect does the speed that we're flying through the universe have on gravity. And I think those are related. And space, the fact that people have a misunderstanding for what the Big Bang is. It wasn't a singularity. It was space. It was everything expanding all at once at every point. So I don't know. I'm just thinking. I've been writing a paper.
Have another beer, Reuben.
You're deep into cosmology at this point. You should have gotten together with Dr. Stephen Hawking before he passed.
Well, I've been looking at Planck lengths and Planck cubes and Planck time, and figuring out what gravity is, and because again, the whole idea of the speed of light and what that really is it really truly the speed of light, or is it just the fact that there's just different things I've been figuring it out, and then the different dimensions, fourth dimensions, fifth dimensions, and what it truly means, because they do mean something.
I'll tell you what blew me away in the.
I've been going out there
in the classes that I took. It was an apprenticeship to become a furnace tech, and most of it was electricity. And the thing that amazed me was how a transformer works. That was just amazing to me, how an electric current can cause a magnetic field and induce current. That was just the wildest thing to me. It really was. Red Sir, you can explain it better than I can, but that blew me away, how you can have a certain magnitude going in and like double it or half it by the end of it. And it was
going back
to
me. But going back to what we were saying before, I don't know if Richard, you remember the whole with Matt with the whole ancient apocalypse thing and the whole discovery type of thing. That do you know the effect of magnetism on copper? You've seen it before, how it can levitate certain things at certain speeds.
Yeah,
if you have it can create different fields around it.
Yeah, you create fields, and the fields can have a repulsive force, and you can make things levitate. I mean, there are all kinds of effects. There's a reason that most physicists today talk about electromagnetic fields.
Yes.
Because it's hard to have an electrical field without a magnetic field associated with it, and vice versa. Which is the whole point of a transformer, is that everything is happening all at the same time.
Exactly.
And that's really, and it's hard to separate them, because one immediately induces an effect in something else, which induces an effect in this, and that's where you get the transformer's electricity turns into magnetic field, which turns into electrical current in another coil.
Exactly, inducing current. That's what blew me away. I was like, "Wow, this is amazing."
Yeah, because for me, the way I describe it also in my head, or at least visualizing it to people out there watching it right now, is like, think of an ice cube, okay? And inside the ice cube, you're inside that ice cube, and you're in that. But if you're in that ice cube, and an electric current goes through it, the whole thing lights up. But it's a whole thing. So that's what I'm saying. On the grandest scale, everything is connected, and we're trapped inside that ice cube. We're part of this universe. We're inside it at this time. So if something happens, and it happens everywhere, because it is on the grandest scale at the highest dimension. Everything happens once, because all it needs to do is have one touch, and it'll affect it, because it's affecting the entire thing.
Yes.
You can't figure this out. It's so big.
No.
Yeah.
It's the problem that I have with physics today is that it has. Okay, this is very much a what I call hand waving physics. I don't have the math for this. To me, physics is in danger of disappearing up its own ass. String theory is not a scientific theory because it's not disprovable. And if the theory is not disprovable, it's not scientific. It's a theory, but it's not a scientific theory. And the whole field of theoretical physics, string theory, to me, isn't physics, because it isn't science. It's fantasy. It's play pretend. Physics is in trouble.
You can't experiment to prove it or disprove it.
You got it. Or disprove it. Even quantum mechanics, general relativity. Even general relativity was tested by looking at a solar eclipse and finding out that the light from stars that were known to be behind the sun, from the point of view of the Earth, were visible outside the eclipse.
Yes.
Because the light had been bent by the sun as a gravitational lens. Now, if that doesn't blow your mind, I don't know what will.
Yeah. I like that. I like that. Yeah, wild. I do like that.
But that's how it was. That's how it was tested by by somebody a few years after, who went to Africa to take measurements of stars against the eclipse in the middle of frickin' nowhere. But the problem is that physics has gotten to the point, because they're all chasing the unified theory of everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Which to me sounds like something coming out of a Douglas Adams book.
I was going to say L. Ron Hubbard, but
Well, to me, it's the ultimate answer to the ultimate question of life, the universe, and everything. And that's what they're trying to find. And I already know the answer. It's 42.
Yeah,
I just don't know the question.
There you go.
But that's where physics seems to be headed, and engineering is proving to be a hell of a lot more useful than physics these days, because physics these days is devolving into a bunch of people writing arcane equations on boards, and nobody can test any of it experimentally.
Yeah, for me, what I'm trying to figure out is, again, like the whole idea, like the whole magnet, like superconductivity, the fact that when you decrease it to absolute zero, where nothing's moving, where everything's frozen, then things can freely move. Then that's the whole idea, that the forces are negated, that things can move freely.
Well, no. Okay. I have a slightly different understanding of what happens in a superconducting material, and I may be completely wrong as well. So nobody go out and buy stock in a superconductor company on the basis of this. But electrons have to, according to quantum mechanics, have to occupy discrete energy states. They can't be halfway in between. It's like it's got to be 1 or 2 or 3. It can't be 1.5. When you freeze something down to near absolute zero, you've reduced the energy to the point where all the electrons fall to the bottom. And they have to be in a minimal energy state. At which point, they're all equal. They can all go anywhere with equal ease. You don't have the low status electrons and the middle class electrons and the 1% electrons never mixing with each other. Everybody's down at the bottom. And now you've got a material where you have all the electrons available to move from one place to another. So they do. Yes. And it's very easy to do that. And that's your superconductor. There's nothing to stop them.
Right.
But that's not interesting because we had before I was there in my college a cryogenics lab that could cool materials down to less than 1 degree Kelvin, and then they could experiment on things at near absolute zero, like things like liquid hydrogen. It got taken away and sent to UMass Amherst, so we didn't have it anymore while I was there. But that is a incredibly expensive, complicated laboratory to set up, to even make something that cold.
Yeah.
That is, you don't just put that in an office building somewhere. People walking around the building heat it up. It's that sensitive. So the thing that's interesting about superconductors is the ones that aren't near absolute zero, and they are working on those.
Yes.
And those have the potential
Guys, I got to
be
duck out.
Game changers.
Take care.
Oh,
all right.
Thanks for having me on, Reuben. It's good to see all
sir.
of you. Nice to meet you, Sam. You guys take it easy. We got a show tomorrow, so I got to get some whack.
Talk to you soon.
You guys take care, guys. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. But yeah, the thing with physics is that physics is getting out so far into the weeds that it makes no sense in any way, shape, or form to the average person. I mean, not that they can't do the math, because I can't do the math, and I was a physics major. But they don't even understand the question being asked. At which point, what's the point? I mean, yes, there's the point of expanding human knowledge, but I'm not sure they're going the right way. But then again, not my area of expertise at this point.
Yeah, like I like it because again, I always like to listen to the one thing that always fascinates me are the numbers too, the number line, and then you have the imaginary numbers, and then you have the Riemann hypothesis and what they're doing there, and I see different things where you see like numbers now in 3 dimensions and all that stuff. I love that stuff. To me, but what's the end game for me? It's like, okay, well then. Magnets mean something practical. How were these things done? What knowledge was lost? Things like that. Because the whole idea of science of sound also and color, those things too, and are very important. And they're making more discoveries. Like, did you know? I don't know where they had it. I think it was they did it in Greece, or they did it in some Roman statues, where they did some checking on some lights on them. And they found out that they were actually not white marble at first. They were white marble, but then they were actually painted. So the what you see in the Greek figures and the Roman statues were actually painted, but they lost the paints and they stayed white. And then we think that's how it is, but that's not how they were before. And we're just recently discovering that now. That color was introduced back a while ago. So things that we didn't even know are all new again. So again, there's a lot of the world that you still don't know, or we still don't know.
Well, that's where archaeology and art history come in for what you're talking about, in understanding what the ancient world, what the past really looked like.
Yep.
The Sistine Chapel ceiling was being cleaned when I was in college, and I'm assuming that they've finally managed to finish it. Years later, but the Sistine Chapel, which is the Michelangelo frescoes, famously painted, on his back on scaffolding and all of that, and Charlton Heston played him in a movie, I believe.
I like Michelangelo. We share the same birthday.
Yeah, oh, do you? Before that was cleaned, art historians looking at those frescoes considered Michelangelo to be an excellent architect and a world-class sculptor across all time, but not a very good painter. He just wasn't that good. He didn't draw shapes very well, and his colors were kind of muted and drab, and he wasn't very imaginative in his paintings, so they didn't think much of his frescoes.
Oh,
then they
God,
cleaned then they cleaned the ceiling, and they already had some panels done when I was taking art history in college, and I saw some slides, and the colors, once they'd cleaned all the soot from all the papal elections for the last 500 years off of them, were stunning. And my art history professor showed us this picture and said, they're going to have to rewrite a lot of art history books once they get this thing cleaned. Because Michelangelo as a painter is going to change the history of art once we've seen everything that he painted here. There are a lot of things we discover only because somebody stumbles across one unique skeleton, or restores a painting, or a sculpture, or a fresco, and we see it as it was, and it's your assessment of it is suddenly completely different, or your understanding has changed because that was something you didn't know before. That's why I loved art history. Because because the laws of art history change every time somebody comes up with a new way of interpreting a painting or a sculpture, or they find a copy and they compare the two and they say, wow, who did what? And how do we know? And we did that exercise. We had two paintings. We had to compare them, and we had to write up our assessment of who painted which one and why we thought that was who painted it. And that was interesting.
I know. Yeah. Again, that's the thing. My mother did get her chance when she retired to go to Europe and see the art there, and she saw me. They visited me in Chicago, and they went to the art museum, art institute right there downtown, and she fell in love. And again, it's iconic because again, growing up, you see it in movies. Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Then to actually be there in the art institute, looking at the paintings that he looked at, and it just very surreal in a way. But then to have that connection because those art pieces I saw growing up with my mom, and to see her get her chance to see that, it's something special. To have your mother, or someone you haven't seen, or someone your parent seeing that, it's very important. And she really enjoyed that because again, that's you have that connection with the family, growing up.
Yeah. I'm curious, what is your take on either of you postmodern art or whatever they're calling this, new wave of
the new wave of the people that throwing soup on art? Just kidding, I'm playing. No. No.
Yeah, that one. Whatever they call
No.
it.
No, I know what you're talking about. What they're doing with all the bad stuff. Yeah, it's fine. This is crazy. But in regards to modern art, I don't know. It's to me, it's basically money laundering. Basically, they're just spending money on things to move money around and back and forth. It's just money sitting there. It has no more the panache that the Oscars have. As I remember looking forward to seeing the Oscars because I love watching movies. I grew up in the greatest movie generation, basically 74 through 94. Some of the shit 2004, we'll say.
Yeah,
some of the greatest iconic films ever that I saw in the theaters that occurred, and then now, just like it's lost its panache. So I like the masters, but nothing of art.
I will say, Paul. This might come as a complete surprise to folks, but Paul Joseph Watson, several years ago now, did a couple of videos on modern art, by which he mostly meant postmodern art and postmodern architecture. And
Yeah.
I am mostly in agreement with him. I have a slightly different interpretation. Modern art began in the late 19th century as a rejection of romanticism, and artists wanted to find new ways of expressing things visually. But they were classically trained. They were masters. That's important. They could have painted any way they wanted to, and then Monet and people like him started painting differently. And then it became more of a revolutionary movement, literally revolutionary, as in Bolsheviks of the art world. And they were going to overthrow the old order. And you had Dadaism and you had Surrealism. And I happen to like some of the Surrealism. I love Dali. I think Dali's paintings are utterly fascinating. Then you get postmodern. And that's when the shit hit the fan, in my opinion, in the art world. And what they rejected with postmodernism was any concept of beauty.
Yeah.
Beauty was no longer an objective of art. You didn't care whether it was beautiful, as long as you made a statement.
Oh, jeez, yeah.
Yes, we know this.
You're
we
right.
see this all the time now in pop culture. They don't want to make an entertaining show. They want to make a statement. They want to deliver them the message.
Oh, wow.
I can't do that the way the drinker does.
That's interesting.
And art did it first. Painting, particularly sculpture. I've seen a sculpture that looks like a dog squeeze on a lawn in front of a corporate office center. I swear to God, it looks like a 40-foot. It looks like that big blue dog. What the hell's his name? Took a dump on the lawn. I swear,
you're
it's
right.
terrible, and it's in bronze, for Christ's sake. So it'll be there forever.
Oh my God. Yeah, like the whole like the poetry slam when they started doing this stuff. I'm oppressed and this and that a long time ago.
But I've got my own theory. And this is a real wild one. This is a paranoid conspiracy theory, if there ever was one.
Probably not wrong.
I believe that postmodern art has become a shibboleth. What's a shibboleth? That's a code word that if you understand it, you're part of the in-group. And if you don't understand it or you can't pronounce it, you're the enemy. I think postmodern art, people say, "Oh, I love that. That's so significant. It's so amazing." It's half black and half white, horizontally divided on the canvas. Or better yet, the best one I've ever seen, in place of a painting, there was a piece of notepaper stuck to the museum wall that said, "Abstract art painting goes here."
Yeah, I know. That was it.
That's art? No, that's
or
a
somebody
shibboleth.
put their glasses down, put it on a stand, and they thought it was a piece of art.
But the people who all get together and say, "Oh, that's amazing," they're all virtue signaling is what they're doing.
Yeah.
That's what they're doing. They're virtue signaling. They're going, "Oh, you agree with me? Oh, you and me, we're alike. We're the good people, aren't we? Oh, yes, we are." To me, that's why that's why it's become a money laundering scheme, because it has no value in and of itself. Nobody wants to go look at it because they want to look at it. They want to own it because they're moving money around.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, what's interesting to me is like when I grew up in the late 90s and early 2000s, art was always kind of seen as like and same with cinema, it was seen as like a liberal, kind of thing now, but things have gone so far whack that it's like I don't even like to put it in boxes anymore, because it seems like the far left doesn't actually care about art anymore, and now it's more like the libertarian types, like myself and certainly Gary, and Drinker, and others that are more into preserving art. But so that's why I was kind of get angry at conservatives, because they're like, "Oh, who cares about art?" Well, this is why you ought to care about the arts, is because of this crap.
Well, Sam, I'd recommend if you haven't seen him, go watch Paul Joseph Watson's commentary on art and architecture.
I have.
You have, okay. I mean, there's a guy who can't be described as anything but conservative, who has very much an interest in art and architecture because he doesn't like the fact that it's been hijacked.
Yeah. And I mean, and I don't think everything that's modern is bad either. Like, you know, I know this is going to sound lame, but I mean, look at any Apple product that's come out in the past, 20 years. They all look beautiful. But
Yep.
That's again, that's done by actual like designers.
Yes.
Not by
the reason I distinguish between modernism and postmodernism is from what I understand, Frank Lloyd Wright, if you know his architecture, Falling Water, he's modernist, but he's a modernist who believed that architecture should fit into its environment and not overwhelm it.
Yeah.
So his architecture is influenced by where the building sits. And if he moved the building somewhere else, he'd have designed it differently. And postmodernism doesn't appear to give a damn where the building sits. They have their vision and they're going to realize it, and you're going to have to live with it from now on. So, yeah, I agree with you but I do agree with you that conservatives in large part have simply ignored current art as, oh, it's them, there it's Ronald Reagan's words in the debate. There you go again.
There you go again.
And they just dismiss it. And they just gave up. And I don't think they should have given up, honestly.
And now we're paying the price with with Hollywood and the movies and everything.
Think about the shows we had in the 80s. You had what is it? God, what's it? Now I'm blanking now. What was it? Dynasty. Knots Landing. You had Heart to Heart. Dallas, my God. You had all these different shows about powerful men. Remington Steele, Magnum PI, powerful women, powerful men, rich barons, and all that stuff, Yeah, you have it shows it actually had like balls in a way and had stories,
Well, before that, you had the Rockford Files, which was one of my favorite shows in the 70s.
Exactly.
Even in my generation, though, I mean, you had Mad Men, which ironically took place in the 60s, and I think that was the last show, at least in my era, I can remember that like actually had like a somewhat strong, competent male lead, and also had strong, competent female leads.
True.
Yes. But that was because it was set in the past.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
It was literally a period piece.
Christina
It might well have been Peaky Blinders from the 1920s.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. You're right.
It was every bit the period piece that Peaky Blinders was.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Wow. Now I'm just blown away by what year we're in now. We're in 2022. And the shows that we're talking about in the 80s and 90s, looks like a long time ago, but it's just crazy. It's not that long ago. It's not that long ago, but it really is that long ago generationally.
Yeah,
kids don't know these things.
Even the 2000s. I mean, I'm old enough to remember when Pierce Brosnan was James Bond. He was the James Bond I grew up with. I was in like middle school or like high school, and Daniel Craig became Bond, and that was 15 years ago. Wow. Now that I'm considered an old guy now by some. So
God, don't say that. That are practically ancient then. Anyway.
Yeah, it just goes to show how far this this cultural stuff has gone, though. That now stuff that I grew up with is now considered nostalgia, quote unquote.
Very true. Very true. Anyway, I don't know if anybody else feels like it's going to be wrapping up pretty soon. It's almost going to be 1 o'clock here in the Eastern time, midnight Central. Just wanted to basically, get things going here. If anybody else had any other topic to say, or just to, wrap things up, indeed, I'm having trouble talking for some reason. I know what it is. It's my muscles. It happens. I'm forcing myself to talk, and it's getting very difficult to do so. So I need to rest. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have anything really to say other than, like I said earlier at the beginning of this show, I do find this whole thing with all of the Twitter employees leaving. I find that somewhat humorous. And also that they were trying to, get Twitter shut down. Like you said earlier, they're now finding out what the real world is like. But I'm also hoping that this will open the doors for some of us to get on there and maybe utilize the platform now that it's more even. Hopefully, I'm hoping that.
We can hope so. We can hope that. So, hope so. Things change. We'll see. Again, Elon had some things to say. I think he said no on Alex Jones right now, or I'm not sure.
Yeah, he said no on Alex Jones. I think that's I think that's for right now.
Right.
So far, like, there's a poll right now as to whether or not to reinstate Trump, and the last time I checked, it was like 54% yes to 45% no. Okay. So we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. That's how it works, I guess. Red Shirt, how are you doing? You there? Oh, man. Hello. 70s?
I see Red Shirt's avatar on the screen, but he's muted.
Wait, hold on. He's right. He'll be right back. Right back. Okay, that's no problem. So let me do that. Then just on my end, at least, just say what's going on here with me. Excuse me, guys. Sorry. So, like I said, it's been what I've been doing here is, like I said, I'm back here in Orlando. I'm dealing with a lot right now, and it's happening right now because again, I tend to want to do videos every single day. And what's been happening is I've had the same problem that happened. It's happening right now as it is. I can't speak. I'm fine. It's not a crisis. It's just my muscle condition. And it's like ALS, but it's more muscle, and it just locks everything up where I can't talk really well. So it's like in order to alleviate the pain, I just need to just stop the stream and then just go right to bed because it's going to start hurting and vibrating a lot. But it happens. But again, I want everybody to know, regardless of the situation I'm in right now, that I'm not giving up. I've made a promise to myself that why am I here? What's my life's purpose? Like I said, I lost my wife. I lost my friend. I've lost all my family. And, what am I left to do? And I say, you know what? I enjoy sitting here on Fridays. Started off Fridays, but now it's every day. I turn on YouTube, put on the background, try and find someone live or watch a funny video or hear a stream going on of anybody is fine from the fellowship. And it's really been a blessing. It's really helped me feel good about a better tomorrow, because there is so much passion and talent in everybody here. And I really want to thank Matt with Foulball Productions, Vigilante Williamson, also all the people that I've known. We have met. I'll talk to Justin of the Red Shirt, of course. Sam, you're great. That 70s Rock fan, another great people. Everyone we've talked on the stream, everyone that we've been associated with has been amazing. And I'm going to do my best to continue it. So more meetings, the more meetups we have, I'm going to get out there and meet other people too. And, I love Doctor, the moniker I'm given. It's true. I want everyone to feel love and happiness, because I know together we can make a difference. And you can do it every single day by being the best you can be, teaching people about what you like. And we want to promote good pop culture content, because that's what's missing now. We want good content with good, strong characters. And they went through a lot of these things the last few weeks, where there have been strong female leads that we love. We want to see those type of women back on the screen, those type of characters we just love growing up with. But nowadays it's not here. And again, we have to demand what we want or we fight it somewhere else. So get out there and have a great day, and we'll figure all out what's going on next. But I want to thank everybody from the bottom of my heart. Justin, Richard, you're back yet? He's not back yet.
I'm back.
Oh, he's back. And anything you wanted to plug?
Tuesday on 32 Flavors of Nick Weiser's channel, we'll be doing Toxic Tuesday at 9 p.m. Central. And this Tuesday, we're going to be talking about the classic James Bond film, Goldfinger.
Ooh.
Gosh.
I'm definitely going to have to tune in for that as a Bond aficionado.
We're doing Bond all month. You need to check out the last couple, because we did Dr. No and From Russia with Love already.
Dang.
Last week was From Russia with Love, and the week before the election was Dr. No.
Damn.
We got at least 2 more to do.
Yeah, those are some of my favorite films. So,
and they are toxic. Ooh, boy.
Oh yeah.
As usual.
They're a perfect fit for Toxic Tuesday.
Oh yeah.
I like them. Anyway, guys, I will let you all go. Oh shoot, I almost dropped my things here.
As far as I go, I've got the Whitfield Report tomorrow at 10 p.m. I'm going to be covering some of the Eastern time, that is. I'm going to be covering some of the FTX stuff and maybe some of the Twitter stuff as well.
Do you have a link for that?
Yeah, I can paste it. It's just youtube.com/the Whitfield Report. So, and I've also got my podcast on Spotify and whatnot as well. So,
cool.
And I would love to have you on at some point, Reuben. I've had Red Shirt on before, and I've had Matt on. So you're the only one I haven't. You and Gary are the ones that I haven't had on yet.
Well,
so.
we'll make that happen. We'll make it happen.
So,
but anyway, I will do that. But guys, let's wrap it up now. It's 1 a.m. here in Florida.
Yeah,
midnight. And
1 a.m.
I want to say good night to everybody here, and talk to everybody later. Everybody out in land, have a wonderful evening, and we'll talk to you soon. Take care.
All right.
Bye.